Hello! Many of us have dreamed of having superpowers as children. For Oscar, it's a reality from his birth. The gravity of the earth has no effect on him, and the guy can literally float in the air. But as the story of the man without gravity will show, it's not so easy to use this gift correctly. At night, rushing through the storm, a mother is driving her daughter Natalia to the hospital. The girl is about to give birth. A nurse on duty helps bring the baby into the world. Still bound to his mother by the umbilical cord, Oscar floats in the air in front of the astonished women. Natalia gently places the miracle baby on her chest and tells her grandmother,
Mamma, ho fatto un angelo.
The women escape from the hospital with the newborn, so that no one would find out about the flying baby. At home, Natalia's mother closes the blinds and shutters of the windows and declares to her daughter that Oscar will never go outside. In the morning, the stunned women see the child sleeping under the ceiling, hovering there like a balloon. Natalia's mother believes that her flying grandson was sent to her by God as a curse for her daughter's promiscuous life. The old woman fears the gossip that will spread around town if anyone finds out about Oscar's ability. The people who want to see the newborn baby are already starting to appear. The 4 biggest gossipers of the city are rushing to see them in the early morning. The old woman kindly lets them in, but does not allow them to take the baby in her arms under the pretext that it is strictly forbidden by the doctor. In fact, the boy was secured to the crib with a belt after quickly getting rid of the annoying guests. The women are busy reorganizing the house, nailing soft blankets to the ceilings of the rooms, and attaching a safety belt to the baby's crib. Several years have passed. Natalia is sewing an orange vest for her already older son. It has a patch on the chest with an image of Batman, Oscar's favorite superhero. And in the pockets are weights, small kettlebells. Now, Oscar can stand on the floor, walk like a normal child, and even go to school. But the nervous grandmother forbids her daughter and grandson to even think about it and promises to teach the boy at home. In addition, she boarders up the windows to keep Oscar from going outside on his own.
Quella creatura non sarà mai al sicuro fuori di qui.
Natalia thinks this is too much. She quarrels with her mother and takes Oscar for a walk in the evening, but warns him he must not tell anyone about his superpowers. After that night, Oscar's life becomes like that of a normal child. His mother takes him for walks and even sews the same orange vest for herself to shield her son from the stares of passerbyers. This is how they go to the store together one day, when Natalia asks Oscar to wait outside. As soon as the boy is alone, a girl in a pink jacket, Agatha, bumps into him, rushing from around the corner. On impact, she falls to the pavement and drops her water bottles. Agatha blames Oscar for this and makes him carry the bottles as an apology. The boy feels guilty and agrees to help. On the way to Agatha's house, the children stop in front of a window displaying a commercial with a famous TV diva. Oscar is already very tired, so he tosses out the weights while the girl tells him that she dreams of being as beautiful and successful as the woman on screen. Near his new acquaintance's house, Oscar realizes that nothing but the water bottles in his hands keeps him down on the ground, so he doesn't want to let them go. The girl attacks him, takes the bottles by force, and to her surprise, Oscar flies up. But Agatha is not frightened and comes to his rescue. She brings Oscar her backpack, the weight of which helps him stay on the ground. The boy takes a pinky swear from the girl that Agatha will not tell anyone about what she had just seen. At home, Oscar is met by his mother, who scolds him for disobeying her and leaving. He excitedly tells her about his new acquaintance and her gift of a pink backpack. From now on, Oscar and Agatha are best friends. The boy always wears her gift behind his back instead of his vest. They watch Batman cartoons, draw and play together, and one time they even go to a costume party. Agatha wears a princess costume, and Oscar dressed as an angel, which he is very indignant about.
Io non voglio essere un angelo, io sono Batman.
Seeing the children off to have fun, Natalia and Agatha's grandmother have a nice conversation on the doorstep. And from the old woman's words, she realizes that Oscar has revealed the girl his secret. From that moment on, Natalia forbids her son's only friend to visit them, leaving them nowhere else to see each other as Oscar never went to school. Many years later, the mother and son live in a house on the outskirts of town. The grandmother has died, so it's just the two of them. Oscar hasn't told anyone else about his secret. He leads a hermit's life, grimly walking around the house in odd pajamas. Agatha's pink backpack still keeps him on the ground. He spends his time watching television and reading books, an endless number of which clutter his room. Sometimes, Oscar goes to the local bar to wait for his mother from work, has a drink and reads. At the bar, he hangs out with his friend Andrea, who nicknames him Backpack, and makes jokes about Oscar liking the bartender. The television antenna breaks during one of their regular get-togethers. Andrea asks Oscar to get the ladder and climb to the roof, to which he responds,
Volo io sul tetto. Faccio come Batman?
but immediately sees his mother's forbidding and indignant look and laughs off what he said. On their way home, the mother and son discuss their current situation. Oscar dreams that he will be shown on television and called a legend, and maybe somebody will even write a book about him. With sadness, Natalia replies that the world is not at all as friendly as he thinks it is. Gloomy Oscar is watching TV again. In between the shows, there is a commercial for a show of extraordinary people, where participants with unique talents are invited. Hope lights up in the guy's eyes. He writes down his phone number, quietly packs his things in the night, takes some money, and leaves the house while his mother is asleep. The very next day, Oscar is shown on television, in an old sweater and with a backpack on his shoulders. The hero hesitantly goes on stage to show off his amazing gift. He drops his backpack and flies up to the ceiling of the studio. Thousands of spectators, including his mother, look at Oscar. That's all he ever wanted. So after the show, Oscar immediately packs his bags in his hotel room to head home. There, he is stopped by an agent named David, who offers to promote Oscar in the world of show business. He will only take a modest 10% of Oscar's earnings for his services. David immediately offers the boy a pseudonym, the Man Without Gravity. With hope, Oscar asks the agent if they will ever write a book about him. The sly man promises Oscar anything he might want, so the guy agrees to sign the contract. David settles the artist into a new luxury 2-story house, but forbids him to move his mother there. Supposedly, he will always have a bunch of girls visiting. From now on, the agent takes Oscar to shoot commercials and take part in entertainment shows and parties. The guy can even call his mother only under David's supervision. Very soon, he becomes famous. People write about him in magazines and newspapers. Huge posters with photos of him are put up, and his pink backpack is one of the main attributes of his image. Entertainment becomes the norm of life, and the artist no longer answers the phone when his mother calls him. At yet another photo shoot, a different agent brings a pink pony into the studio where Oscar is filmed. The men talk with each other, shamelessly comparing whose artist is better, feeling like he's just an attribute for the show. Oscar hesitantly asks his agent for a chance to say a few words about how he feels before the show. David nonchalantly waves it off and says the audience doesn't need it. In Oscar's hometown, the advertisers have already opened a museum dedicated to the Man Without Gravity and even put up a bronze monument in the courtyard. The exhibits there are made up of kid stuff that never really belonged to him. It's important to create an image that will sell. The image of a child growing up without a father and raised by an unbalanced and authoritarian mother. As Oscar, frustrated, is watching the story, David shows up with an issue of Time magazine. The Man Without Gravity is on the cover. It's certainly a success, but the guy doesn't care. He's devastated and admits to the agent that he feels like a fool. Only the dream of having a book written about him still keeps Oscar enthusiastic. In order to not lose his client and a lot of money, David immediately arranges a meeting with a writer and a literary agent. They promise Oscar to publish 1 million copies of a book in 3 months. The guy is happy and takes out his manuscripts. It turns out that he has no right to dictate the content of the book. It will be written on his behalf, but without his participation. The scenario, according to which Oscar lived in poverty, starving and constantly saving his friends from danger, is already composed. They try to persuade him that there is no need to spoil the sweet lies with his truth. Disappointed, Oscar runs away from the meeting after realizing the bitter truth. No one cares about his real life. The fact that he flies is enough for them. However, the contract is still in effect, and Oscar is forced to keep working. At the next show, his mother arrives. Frowning, the hero takes the stage in an angel costume. He needs to please the audience and start flying. But the Man Without Gravity refuses to do so and becomes furious right on stage.
Non sono un angelo!
An outrage like this could result in scandals and fines. So David contemplates how to save the situation. But Oscar no longer wants to work as a laughingstock and offers his solution: to announce that he died, that the Man Without Gravity flew away. This is what is told on the news the next day, adding that the man actually had no powers, and the shows were organized with the help of special effects. Pushy reporters and journalists have been swarming Oscar's house and pestering his mother for a long time after the incident. Natalia silently closed the door in front of them, but after such stress, her health deteriorated greatly, and soon the woman died. Oscar moves downtown. He now hides his identity, lives modestly in a small apartment, rides in a wheelchair, dresses like a beggar, and works as a receptionist at a motel, where girls of easy virtue bring their clients. At work, Oscar is treated very nicely. His co-workers gave him the tender nickname, the housekeeper. The boss consults with him and even wonders what to get him for Christmas. The man spends the holiday at work. He inspects the room keys, and after seeing that only one room is occupied, decides to go up to the woman to see if everything is alright. A pretty dark-haired woman opens the door and makes it clear that she wants Oscar to leave. Once he does, she notices the pink backpack behind his back. The girl leaves the room and follows Oscar down the corridor, and after catching up with him in the lobby, addresses him by name. Oscar is confused. He thinks the girl has recognized him as the man without gravity and denies his connection to him. Then the stranger reveals her name. It turns out that it's Agatha. The next day, the childhood friends go to a cafe together. Agatha confesses that she's been wishing to contact Oscar, but she didn't. After all, such a rich and famous man might not have remembered her. At the cafe, the waiter serves Agatha very kindly, compliments her, and offers coffee and croissants on the house. Oscar watches this scene with jealousy and asks her if she has a boyfriend. Agatha responds by asking the same question. She wonders how such a rich and famous man might not have a loved one. Oscar replies that he has only fallen in love once, as a child, with his friend, who now sits across the table. The man shows his modest apartment to the woman. Agatha quickly determines that she will not get out of poverty with Oscar and hurries to leave. But he stops her by playing a videotape. Turns out, it's the clip of the famous TV diva they saw as children in the store window. Memories make the couple forget their problems, and they carelessly dance like they did years ago. For the next few days, they continue to do their jobs. Agatha brings in new clients, and Oscar gives her the room keys. In their spare time, however, they have fun. They run through the streets of the city, go to the movies, and dance. Their relationship grows warmer. Agatha gives Oscar a new black backpack. He, in turn, gifts her an agate ring, and they spend their first night together. Oscar is sure that they are in a serious relationship, so the next time Agatha shows up, he tries to give her a rose right in front of her client. The girl coldly ignores him and goes upstairs, but after a while kicks the client out and rushes to Oscar, in tears and with smeared mascara on her face. She tries to convince both him and herself that nothing will work out between them.
Guarda che io non ci torno a fare la fame, capito?
But then, ashamed of her words, she apologizes. Nonetheless, Oscar walks away without looking back. The man without gravity goes to the old house where he spent his childhood. He's looking around the empty rooms and what's left of the museum, when suddenly someone knocks on the door. Agatha stands at the door with a pink backpack in her hands, and the man, smiling, lets her in. Oscar and Agatha are now married and expecting a child, and our hero has fulfilled his childhood dream. He flies like Batman. As always, you'll find the movie title in the description of the video, but in the meantime, let us know in the comments. Would you give up your dream? Or would you follow it even if you had to sacrifice your own self? And don't forget to like and subscribe so that awesome retellings come out more often.